Join us and Neighborhood Cats for all you need to know about trap, neuter, return, TNR, and colony management. You'll learn the basics and walk away with the tools you need to be successful in helping outdoor cats. Workshops are typically held the first Saturday of the month. Registrants will have the opportunity to earn a certificate. For more information and to register today, go to communitycatspodcast.com.
You've tuned in to the Community Cats Podcast. Ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Community Cats Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy LeBaron. I've been involved helping homeless cats for over 20 years with the Merrimack River Feline Rescue Society. The goal of this podcast is to expose you to amazing people who are improving the lives of cats. I hope these interviews will help you learn how you can turn your passion for cats into action. And today we're speaking with Mikkel Becker. Mikkel is a certified trainer and behavior consultant, and she is the lead trainer for Fear-Free Pets and Fear-Free Happy Homes. Mikkel lives in Indiana with Indiana Bones and Otis, pugs mixes, and a horse, Chili, who help her champion reward-based training. She's also the co-author of From Fearful to Fear-Free. Mikkel, I'd like to welcome you to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk cats.
All day cats, yes. So first and foremost, how did you become passionate about cats?
Oh my gosh. One of my earliest memories was being outside actually petting a cat and just loving on this cat and not wanting to leave. My mom being like, okay, Mikkel, it's time. We got to go. And I think I was probably around 4 or 5. That's when a lot of my memories started. And I just have always loved pets. And as a behavior consultant and trainer, I've really grown very passionate about being able to help cats because I feel like they are a misunderstood species in general. And I love that there's so much more information and excitement behind them now. And there are so many ways that we can help them. And they are so trainable. They just are so fun to train that it's like pigs and cats are some of my favorite animals besides dogs to train. So they're just incredible.
I don't hear that very often, that people say that cats are very trainable. So, what's been your experience with training cats?
So after going through different dog training academies and Karen Pryor Academy specifically really helped me to just enlarge my vision for training alternative species. And so I worked with orangutans in Miami, for instance. And so these other species where you can't force them to do anything, of course. And the way that I train, it's something that's voluntary, it's by choice. And for cats, it's all the same way. So it's all based on positive reinforcement, encouraging them to do the behaviors that we want. And a lot of that is set up through the management of their environment and encouraging and rewarding those behaviors that we want to see more of. And for cats, the reason why I feel like they can be so easy to train compared to dogs, for instance, or horses, is that it takes very few repetitions for them to really get it. And I've seen cats who will even watch other animals and it's like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I feel like just from my own experience, it seems like they like to mimic quite a bit. So it's nice to be able to train them because it doesn't take as much time. It just takes more intention. So it's really thinking them out and trying to be as smart as our cats are, because our cats are incredibly smart.
When you're talking about that and you're talking about horses and that kind of thing, I used to always try and recommend that folks try and always get their cats in their barns at night when they have barn cats. And that's basically a trainable environment. And also, when we're feeding our colony cats or our community cats outside, we are training them to come and feed at certain times. And we're trying to train them so that they'll go into a trap. Maybe we have the door propped open for a while to get them comfortable going in and out of a trap so that then when we do need to trap them, we can do that too. So there are a lot of things that we can do to help our community cats or our working cats also to train them.
Absolutely. I love that. Training is so much based just in everyday interactions that we have with our cats. And so just as you said, just the way that something is set up, the way that we interact with them, even something like for those cats maybe that aren't taking treats at first, we can give them the reward of space. So the reward of looking away, the reward of moving away, and doing it in little steps rather than expecting everything all at once, just little steps of success. That makes all the difference.
So you are with Fear-Free Pets. So can you just share with us a little bit about what is Fear-Free and how did it all get started?
So Fear Free is an organization that I'm just so blessed and grateful to be a part of. My dad, Dr. Mikkel Becker, a veterinarian, started it. And he started it after having really this epiphany aha moment when he heard Dr. Karen Overall, veterinary behaviorist, speak about how fear is the worst thing a social species can experience, and it causes permanent damage to the brain. And she was talking about how in veterinary care that repeated psychological damage is oftentimes being done to pets without people even being aware of it. So just how important it was to really change the way that veterinary care took place. And from there, my dad just, he thought up the name Fear Free and just started to get other veterinary behaviorists and trainers and top veterinarians and different behavior professionals on board to create different fear-free certification courses. And it started off in the veterinary industry. And so you can look up fear-free certified veterinarians, fear-free certified practices, and there are also fear-free certified animal trainers and groomers and pet sitters and soon to be boarding and daycare professionals. And that's really important because what we want is to be able to have our pets go to professionals who really have an idea of how to take care of the pet's emotional well-being at the same time that they're taking care of their physical well-being. And in regards to that too, another thing that I think is really relevant to this audience is the fear-free shelters. So it's a program that you can take. It's completely free. And so for rescues, shelters, and it's all about ways to reduce distress. So any type of fear, anxiety, and stress that we like to abbreviate it in fear-free as FAS. So any of those negative emotions and replacing it with feelings of well-being, and encouraging rest, encouraging the animal to feel as safe and as happy as possible, which really helps them to be more adoptable and helps make that temporary stay just more bearable for them. So that's a really important piece to consider as well.
So what's an example of sort of a fear-free improvement or something you would have seen in, say, a traditional veterinary practice that you don't see in a fear-free practice?
So one of the biggest things, I remember when I first started out in animal training, I worked at a hospital that now is fear-free certified, but was not before. And what you would typically see when I was in the back or even in the exam rooms helping out as an assistant is the cat that is just in the back of the carrier, they're hiding, they're kind of forcibly pulled out or sometimes even tipped out by the pet owner. A lot of times they're placed on that slick surface of the exam table. A lot of times the care will be either just forced through with the cat frozen in fear, which is a common typical reaction when they're placed on a slippery surface, is to freeze in fear. And Dr. Temple Grandin actually mentions that as one of the top innate fears that animals have. And so in some sorts, it was using the pet's fear against them to make them more handleable. But what happened is that over time, those cats would get worse and worse, and you would get the cat that would start aggressing, the cat that would start to try and struggle. And so more things were added. So the muscle, the manpower, different tools to really wrangle the cat, without really addressing the root cause, which was fear, anxiety, and stress. So with fear-free, you don't see that. So fear-free really starts from the home to the hospital and back home again. So, or to any place of care that pet receives that's fear-free. So including groomer, pet sitter, things like that. So it's all about reducing that pet's distress and helping them to feel more comfortable. And that can start even with the carrier. So giving pet guardians different ways to get the cat accustomed to the carrier, to make it easy for them, bringing them in, being able to do the exam or provide that care in a way that the cat is comfortable with. So a lot of times we are big fans of the top removal carriers where you can just take the top off, examine the cat in the safety and comfort of their own carrier bottom. And then if they do need to stay, having different elements that may include having them in cages that are more comfortable for them, that allow them to hide, that allow them to perch, that allow them to rest in. A lot of times we encourage even bringing the pet's own bedding and familiar items so they have those scents, because those scents really promote security for the pet when it's a familiar scent. And that can be really comforting for them when they're exposed to this new environment, tons of things going on. So having familiar scents, having some calming pheromones, a lot of it's in the way that we interact with them, and really using lots of treats too. So lots of treats, toys, anything that the cat enjoys, and allowing them to use coping techniques like allowing them to hide and also allowing them to perch. So those are important aspects of what is done in a typical fear-free exam, as well as treatment or stay in the hospital.
With the holidays right around the corner,
curl up with a furry friend and a copy of the new book, How Snowball Stole Christmas by Kristen McKenna. The adorably funny brand new novel featuring one very opinionated, very beautiful matchmaking cat named Snowball. The story is as cute as the cover. It's the perfect stocking stuffer. Clever scallywag of a cute as a button cat residing in a small town Victorian B&B and matchmaking on the down low, bringing two hearts together, all wrapped up like a pretty Christmas bow on a creamy white cat named Snowball. There's no end to the way Snowball can drum up trouble to bring two people together who start out despising each other. This floof will stop at nothing to make the perfect holiday match for her resident humans, even if it means being a little more naughty than nice. Just in time for the holidays, How Snowball Stole Christmas from Kensington Books is available everywhere books are sold. It's a great read. Team Dubert is at it again, and now they have an amazing companion case management module that once again revolutionizes how you rescue animals. Dubert partnered with Dallas Pets Alive and the Spay Neuter Network to build a powerful solution that allows you to manage cases of any kind. Whether owner surrender calls or emails, community cat tracking and reporting, Dubert is the only system that integrates two-way text messaging, automatic follow-ups, and even a rehoming solution that every organization can use. No more trying to manage 10 different technologies when everything is all in one place and tightly integrated. From fostering to transport, fundraising to e-commerce, supply and demand to case management, Dubert has everything you need to streamline your operations so you can focus on saving more animals. Check out the new companion case management module at www.dubert.com/CCM and get signed up today. Ever wanted to quickly connect, collaborate, or problem solve with others in the animal welfare field who are, real people? Look no further than Maddie's Pet Forum. Maddie's Pet Forum brings people of animal welfare together with the common goal to keep more people and pets together. We share ideas, expertise, offer each other support, resources, and more. Visit forum.maddie'spetforum.org/cats. Maddie's Pet Forum. Come for an answer. Stay for the community. What do you think about, veterinary practices, that are cat only versus dog and cat? I would assume the ones that allow dogs in make it a harder environment to be really fear-free for a cat.
So there are definitely ways that we can accommodate that. So in fear-free, there are things as easy as encouraging cat-only days, for instance. So that might be something. But it's also about using the right type of cleaners that remove any of those smells. So using something that actually removes it completely rather than something that's a really harsh product like bleach or something that has strong odors. And also, instead of the traditional vet hospital where you go into the waiting room, you're waiting in the waiting room, there are dogs going past, things like that. Fear-free has different ways to just really help the pet to feel more relaxed. So even if they are coming in, a lot of times they're going right into the exam room. So they may be waiting in the comfort of their car and they go in with their pet through a side door, back door, or if they're going in, a lot of times there are even separate sides of the lobby, for instance, that may be used. Or the cat, actually, there are different carrier parking spaces. So placing the carrier up high on a non-slip surface, having three sides of the carrier covered so the cat has the option to look out, but they can really hide. And so that's so much better. And also the way that they even carry the carrier. So if you think about the traditional way a pet guardian is going to carry the carrier, a lot of times they're holding it by the handle and it's like the cat is, going off to Six Flags or some really unwelcome, unfortunate roller coaster ride versus when they can hold it from the bottom, wrap their arms around it, hold it next to their belly, to their chest. That's going to provide a lot more stability and that cat's going to be less frightened. So doing that, placing them up high if they do need to wait rather than on the floor where other passing pets may go by. There are just little changes like that make a huge difference for that cat.
Has the folks at Fear-Free, have you talked at all about techniques to use when cats are in traps?
There definitely are quite a few different strategies there, and I'm not as familiar with them as other people would be, but there are definitely some ways that I remember seeing that would be available through the Fear-Free certification. And I believe that there are actually some through the Fear-Free shelter program as well that have different alternatives for even things like, how to get them out more comfortably, how to transition them. So there are some there. I just don't know any myself.
So you had mentioned your dad early, Dr. Becker, and we had him on the show several years ago. We'll put the link in the show notes. And you mentioned that he has come back from his time in Ukraine. Would you mind giving us a little snippet? I also know you have a podcast that's come out, so you do a in-depth interview with him about his time there, but maybe like a little bit of a snippet of his time there, and then share a bit about the podcast.
Absolutely. So my dad did get to spend quite a bit of time over on the Ukraine border. So right there on the border of Moldova, Romania, and Ukraine, and helping people and their pets that are transitioning across the border. So being able to provide veterinary care for those pets and trying to make it a fear-free experience, because they've already experienced so much physical and emotional distress by the time they cross that, it's really important to try and reduce any more stress that pet has to endure. And it was really amazing for my dad to be able to be a part of that, because for so many people, really their pets were all that they had. It was, just the people, the pets, and that's it, clothes on their back. And, and it just, for him, it really spoke to the power of the human animal bond where, these cats, dogs, they were just inseparable from their people, and having their pet with them meant more than even like those physical things. And so it just brought a lot of comfort in, some people actually ask, okay, why care about pets? There's so much suffering going on for the people. Why care about the pets? But really, by caring for the pets, not only is that the right thing to do, but you're also caring for the people at the same time, because pets are such an important part of our emotional and physical well-being. And even through the pandemic, Dad's really good friend, Dr. Ed Cragen at the Mayo Clinic, he said that the number one thing you can do in preventing COVID or being able to recover from it, his advice was to get a pet if you don't already have one, because they have so many positive benefits and great ways that they really help out our health. So, whether it was in the work there, or I think for any of us who've gone through the suffering in the past couple of years, pets just mean everything to us. And that's really the big part of the Happy Paws podcast, is celebrating that bond between people and their pets, and also giving us different ideas and ways to work with our pets in a more fear-free way that really helps to just love on them and give them back even just a portion of the love that they give us.
So you mentioned working with our own pets and ensuring that they get what they need. Are you saying that we sometimes aren't able to give them what they need? Oftentimes people will say, I'm getting a cat because I don't have to walk it. I don't have to, take it out. I don't have to, pick up after it. It can stay home I can put food out and I can go away for a couple of days and the cat will be fine. How does Fear-Free interpret the needs of cats? I would assume a bit differently than that.
Oh, absolutely. So, the more scientific research comes out, it just validates what all of us pet lovers have always known, just that our pets are so capable of deep emotions and deep thought. And so Fear-Free is all about teaching us different ways to provide a better, more enriching environment for our cats, and also different ways of interacting to reduce that fear, anxiety, and stress, and to help our pet feel more comfortable, and also to teach them to cooperate with different aspects of their life that may include their care, getting in that carrier, doing brushing, in any of those regular day-to-day things that can be so stressful for our pet, and also can be physically dangerous for us and for them as well if it ever resorts to that struggle. So Fear-Free is all about different ways that we can encourage a more comfortable life for our pet and a more enriching life for our pet and better relationship with us. So a lot of that is based on different things that would include enrichment. So really enriching our cats' lives, being able to just promote just easy changes of how we can just change our cat's room, for instance, or the home. So we provide them more vertical space. And so that's so important for a cat. Not only are we expanding the square footage of the home that they can explore and roam on, but also it gives them a safe way to get up and to get away from anything that they may feel threatened by. So it could be a visitor that comes into the home. It could be a toddler. It could be the dog, maybe another cat. And that's a really important piece of it. Feeding our cat in different ways too. So encouraging them to have part of that hunt and that scavenging experience. So being able to feed at least partially through food puzzles, even if it's just treats, being able to hide little portions of catnip toys or silver vine toys. So and also having the right type of scratching posts. Like a lot of times cats really, they get the hard end of the deal, I think, in general.
So let me just ask you this question about, a lot of folks, when they adopt a kitty, bring a kitty home, they think a cat is an easy pet. You can just bring the cat home, put up litter box. You don't have to take it out for a walk. And, if you go away for a couple of days, you can put food out and you don't have to worry about it. How does fear-free fall into that? And is that really the best way we should be taking care of our cats?
So cats really have very intricate needs. And that's their emotional need, their physical need, and fear-free definitely does play into that. So in different ways that can include providing predictability and routines, which are so essential for preventing some of those feline illnesses that can be really devastating. And a lot of those are actually pronounced by stress. So by helping to prevent or treat that stress, we actually are helping to promote greater physical health for our cats. And so fear-free is all about educating people on being able to understand their cat's emotional needs, which are very deep and complex. So in a lot of ways, they're similar to our own, similar to that of a dog, like they're very deep. And so being able to provide different ways that we can encourage our cat to use their body and their brain in a way that's more natural for them and that's engaging, because cats really weren't born to be retired. They want to work. They want to be engaged. They want to have fun entertainment throughout the day, just like us. And, being bored is not a fun thing for anyone, including for our cats. So being able to provide those great activities and also that social time. A lot of cats are extremely social and they get that bad reputation for, just being so aloof and independent. However, a lot of cats are very dependent upon their people. And so we can teach them different ways to feel more calm and comfortable when we're away. But also if we do need to have a cat sitter come into the home or we are leaving, there are different ways that we can set up our cat's home and set up their schedule to make it less stressful for them when we do have to leave. And that's important to think about too.
Mikkel, if there are folks that are interested in finding out more about fear-free, where would they find out that information?
So you can go to fearfreepets.com as well as to fearfreeshelters.com. And for some really great free vetted information that includes videos and articles, you can go to fearfreehappyhomes.com and you'll find just a whole treasure trove of information on there.
Excellent. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners today?
Well, if you would check out the Happy Paws podcast, that would be so exciting. And actually today, my daughter she's just about to graduate from 6th grade. So I am decorating her chocolate cake with all things cats. So it's a You're Perfect banner and all kinds of kitty decorations. So that's what's going on for today.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And I hope we'll have you on again in the future.
Thank you so much. It was such a joy.
That's it for this week. Please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. We love to hear what you think, and a 5-star review really helps others find the show. You can also join the conversation with listeners, cat caretakers, and me on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single show. Thanks for listening, and thank you for everything that you do to help create a safe and healthy world for cats.